Time and Death, a short, from Telling Stories. Time and Death sat on a ledge at the edge of the universe, gazing at the beautiful creation before them. Beautiful, ain't it? Death said, leaning close to Time, then straightened himself. Yeah, Time responded, his voice a low whisper. Little dots of light flickered in the expanse before them. Others coursed through space at unmeasurable speed. Someday, all this would end. In a flash, there would be nothing left, Death said, as he raised one leg and rested it on the ledge he and Time sat on. He wrapped his arms around his raised leg and placed his chin on his knee. You mean, I would end someday? Time corrected with an aged voice. Well, if you say it like that. Death defended himself. He had a flicker of humor written on his face, yet somehow he had eyes that were terrified of Time. Terrified of what awaited at the end of time. I run all these things, Death. I am the cause of their motion, their change and reactions. I am not the master, but they are all within me. Where I go, they go. How fast I move is how fast they move. A rare gift from the master, so them coming to an end one day means I come to an end. There would be new ones, though, Death said, trying to comfort Time, and they might need your hand to guide them. Time turned his white-haired head to face Death. What makes you so certain there wouldn't be another me? Someone more capable of handling the new arrivals? Don't be skeptical, Death chuckled, if only to get his mind off his impending fate. He enjoyed whatever moment he spent with the aged being. Says the one that cuts people off and sifts them from my hand. Time said, with elevated eyebrows, then returned to watching shooting stars many light years away. At least you don't have to burn for all eternity, Death argued in a low tone. He sat up and slouched, his arms dangling between his legs as he watched the universe unfold with things he didn't understand. Silence. The silence lasted as the duration of time itself. At the end of things, Death would be cast into eternal fire, and Time would perhaps cease to exist, or maybe get assimilated back to eternity, where he'd be a tiny dot in its vastness. Death lifted his head and watched the heavens above. Intense flashes of light arrayed the heavens. That could only mean one thing: angels and demons clashing swords over the souls of men. Time squinted his eyes, watching as a star was born and another died. Beautiful, he muttered with delight. What is? Death asked, taking his gaze away from the heavens and focusing on whatever it is Time was looking at. He couldn't see it, but it interested him anyway. A dying star. Time turned his overage, good-looking face towards Death. Where? Death asked. Time returned his gaze to the dying star and pointed at it for Death to see. There, he whispered. Do you see it? Not really. Death strained his eyes. I barely know what I am looking at. Time was patient with him. There were many things to see at once. It could be overwhelming. That little glow of yellow light, he described it. Follow my finger, Time said, still pointing. Aha! Death exclaimed. I see it now. He squinted his eyes, gas dust spreading at a massive rate. A dying star, he muttered. A work of your hand, Time remarked, dropping his hands and watching with excitement. How can that be my handiwork? Death asked, amused. I am right here with you. I can't be in two different places at the same time. Don't play coy with me, Death, Time said, his voice fading to a whisper. Death smirked. Indeed, it was beautiful. A burst of light, tiny dots of lights littering the gas dust that stretched in all directions. It's nice to take a break for once. Death readjusted his position to feel more comfortable. You do, I don't, Time protested. He moved his eyes from the birthing and dying stars to a couple of asteroids colliding into each other. Tiny rocks splintered all about. Question, Death said with a heightened tone. If you are here, who's running things down there? Death asked. He had Earth in mind. Time scoffed at the appalling question. He knew the exact place Death was asking about but didn't indulge him. The two beings sat in silence, watching the universe move in ways only Time understood. Thunder rumbled above. The lights were becoming more intense. Sounds of clashing swords seeped through to the ears of Time and Death, sounds not meant to be audible unless the case called for it. With the universe seemingly lightening up, a bright light came crashing down before them suddenly, screaming as it passed them by. "That's my cue," Death said, standing to his feet. He was tall, slender, and muscular. His sleeveless vest was armor, and his black hair flowed with the beats of weightlessness. Time to get going. He chuckled at his humor. "Just be careful with them. Go easy on them," Time advised. His voice was cracked like an old man that had passed his period of living, yet he was still alive. He glanced at the towering and terrifying being that stood beside him. "Your aggressiveness sometimes hurts me. Will try my best." Death made no promises. It wasn't his forte. "It was nice catching up, Time," Death said. He took a step forward and fell off the ledge, his cloak flapping about as it followed him. "There he goes," Time thought, as Death vanished out of sight.